folks, we're kicking off phase 2 of the Sow and Grow program in March. And we're expecting that the Singer Island Community Garden will be finished in May 2021. And I'm sure that the garden volunteers will invite the entire community to come out and walk along the paths, maybe help to plant some seedlings, come out and volunteer because it will be operated by volunteers, but to enjoy this beautiful new amenity in our community. And Mike, if you could go to a couple of the next slides, we'll show some pictures of Singer Island under construction. Next slide, you'll see a number of our residents picking up their Sow and Grow kits, and then the flyer that tells you how you could apply for the different levels. We know that during these COVID times, our residents have food insecurity, and there have been many efforts to get fresh, wholesome food to residents. We want to teach our residents how to grow their own food. So that's the purpose of the Sow and Grow program, which is supported by the Riviera Beach Health and Wellness community. Another exciting project is our Safety Toolkit program. And that is a program that includes smart water, forensic DNA. It includes a ring device, house numbers, smoke alarms, information, etc., a motion detector, and guess what, residents? It's all free. We're able to offer that in the CRA, and we're hoping to partner with the city to expand it throughout the city. Through the COVID challenge, we have offered a number of small business programs in conjunction to our regular small business assistance program. And Mike, you could go through a couple of more slides, where we have a business certification program that is award-winning, and it has been so well received that our major partner, Comerica Bank, has now expanded this program throughout their national footprint. So kudos to Riviera Beach. We also provided small business grants, and we're wrapping up our commercial grant program to assist with exterior renovations for businesses located in the CRA. Very exciting coming up, and we want you to stay tuned to the CRA board meeting next week, is the introduction of our housing initiatives. We've been embarking upon developing home ownership opportunities for our residents. We know that homeownership, one of the largest single investments that most of us will make, is a great way to stabilize our community and to increase economic development. So with the support of our CRA commissioners, we will be introducing the Riviera Beach Renaissance program to assist first-time homebuyers. We'll be expanding our Reclaim program to assist with rehabilitation and beautification for owner-occupants, and working with our general contractors in our reentry program. And also, we'll be introducing and moving forward with our 11th Street Townhome project. So there's much, much more to come. And you've heard me talk a lot about partnerships. It's not just the CRA or the CDC, it's the city, it's our nonprofit partners, it's the banks, it's our contractors, but it's the residents that make these efforts successful. And just to wrap up, I brought in my packet a number of the initiatives that we have on the table right now. I want to announce that City and CRA are sponsoring a pop-up job fair on February 25th right here at the marina. If you're looking for a job opportunity, we'll have a plethora of sectors represented, people who have active jobs available now. If you come out to the marina, we debuted our Civil Rights Reflected in Art and Culture art exhibit, and you can make appointments to come and see the beautiful art. I've mentioned our Smart Home Toolkit program. Coming up in April, we will once again be sponsoring the Great American Cleanup, and we'll be observing Earth Day. So we're looking for volunteers, and it's a way that we green our community. And of course, we have our homebuyer education program that is in session right now. So Dr. Botel, I'll stop now. We're very busy, we're very enthused, but we're very happy to bring all of these offerings to our residents in the city. And thank you for the opportunity to present. And if there are any questions, I'll take them.
Thank you so much, Ms. Jenkins. As always, a wonderful job. Thank you for all the work you do. Does anyone have a question? Anyone in the audience have any questions for Ms. Jenkins? Okay, well, thank you again so much. We'll now move to an update from the City Manager's Office. We'll ask Mr. Evans to come forward and provide us with an update on what's going on, and also the Assistant City Manager regarding neighborhood cleanups. And so we'll have Assistant City Manager Deirdre Jacobs join us as well. He's coming. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure, Madam Chair. In order to, I think, speak on the community cleanups, I think it's appropriate that the Assistant City Manager go first, and then I can share some additional remarks from administration, because those dates are slowly approaching, or quickly approaching, and we want people to sign up if they're interested in participating.
Thank you, Ms. Jacobs.
Oh, no problem. Good evening. I'm Deirdre Jacobs, the Assistant City Manager here with the City of Riviera Beach. And I think, Dr. Botel, you want me to speak about the neighborhood cleanups?
Yes.
Okay. So with regards to your particular district, there will be a neighborhood cleanup 3 Fridays from now. The first Friday in March the 3rd. And this will be actually the 4th neighborhood cleanup that we've had. We work within internal city departments, but we also solicit the support of volunteers that are non-city employees that might come from various entities, or just individuals that are interested in assisting us with beautifying our neighborhoods. We primarily go out and just literally pick up trash. We also work in concert with the Solid Waste Authority, wherein they come in with their roll-offs, and the residents are allowed to bring out big bulk items ahead of time, and the roll-offs are there for them to be able to utilize, to go ahead and use those off days in order to get rid of different types of furniture or other apparatus that they might have inside of their homes or in their yard. So it's always a big day. An effort goes into marketing the event so that the entire community, or the county, even neighboring cities, are aware of what we're doing with regards to our neighborhoods. We want it to be just a cohesive activity wherein we all demonstrate to the city that we're interested in coming up with ways to aesthetically make our neighborhoods cleaner and brighter. So we have T-shirts that we wear, and then we get together not only for breakfast, but then we get together again at lunch, and it's sort of like a fun activity. And any residents that are interested, nothing has been advertised yet, but we are in the early planning stages. So any of the residents that are interested on Singer Island with volunteering for the event, they'll have an opportunity to register and engage. And normally Sammy has helped me out with the other community cleanups, so I'm sure he'll play a large part in this one as well to bring out the residents for Singer Island. The next one will be the 26th of February, and that one will be in the Monroe Heights neighborhood.
Thank you. Now, if there are people on the island who are in need, it came to my attention that there's a woman who has had problems, keeping her house up and keeping the roof clean of stuff, and she really is in need. Her fence needs to be painted. Can the city assist with that kind of a project on that day if we have volunteers to do the work? I was hoping that maybe we could get some paint for her to paint the fence and so on. Is that something the city can help with?
We haven't done it that way in the past, but It has been discussed, but usually we haven't gone to that particular level yet with actually going onto the properties and providing painting activities. But, I mean, it's something that we can consider. I can work along with Sammy, and we can see if we can get some paint donated. And if there are volunteers that are willing to come out and to paint any particular homes, we can plan ahead of time and try to make that happen.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Mr. Evans?
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the community. A couple of things that the City of Riviera Beach should be really excited about is some of the progress that we're making with regards to a lot of our municipal facilities. Most notably, 2129 North Congress Avenue. The city acquired that parcel, and that parcel is being converted into a state-of-the-art library facility, as well as holding a spot for our youth empowerment program. But our youth empowerment program is actually going to morph and adapt into something that we're extremely excited about. We're going to look to engage the age groups that routinely are left out when it comes to programs and activities and services. We're going to have a STEM lab. We're going to have a virtual reality room. We're also going to have a cafe in there that's going to be operated by the young folks that are in the youth empowerment program. You're going to have a state-of-the-art library that's going to have all the accoutrements of any other library in South Florida. And it's going to be a place where the community can come and spend some time with us, and we're very excited. We've also got a very unique and exciting entry element that we're working on, and I'm keeping that confidential at this particular moment, but Ms. Grimsley is working feverishly with folks in the industry to be able to give you that wow factor as you enter that particular facility. We're looking to have the opening of that facility the first week in June. After that facility is online, we have some other plans. We have released an intent to negotiate, which is a mechanism that is utilized for the purposes of assisting us in moving forward with the construction of our fire stations, Fire Station 88 namely. We acquired the property on the corner of Broadway, or the corner of Blue Heron and Congress, and this particular property is ideal for siting our new Fire Station 88. This particular station will be able to house 2 companies, will be a gateway facility as you enter our community, will be built up to the newest standards, and will be able to be a place where in the event of a hurricane, we can have teams that respond out of there from Public Works, PD, and fire. And so this is something that we're extremely excited about. The living quarters will be 2 stories, so the firefighters are already lobbying for a pole. So that is something that we're certainly excited about as it relates to fire services. In that ITN, it also gives us the mechanism to move forward with other construction of our other 4 fire stations. Fire Station 87, which is the main station on the City Hall campus, Fire Station 86, which is on Singer Island, and Fire Station 89, which is on Military. Last night, the board did authorize $1.5 million to proceed forward with the construction of a temporary station for Fire Station 87. So we're going to move forward with that particular project. Conceivably, we believe that the temporary facility would be able to be occupied by fire personnel by July. So you will see the library as well as Fire Station 87 demolished as we move forward with regards to our Reimagined Riviera Beach plan. We are also going to have conversations with the community commencing in March, if not early April, about our Reimagined Riviera Beach plan, having community charrettes, discussions about all the great things that we're looking to bring online. The building that is on the corner of Broadway and Blue Heron, we're bringing that building to the board to move forward with the demolition of the old bank building, and we're going to be having conversations with the board as it relates to all the properties that we currently own throughout the city to see if there's a possibility for partnership opportunities with the private sector to see if the city or CRA brings the property to the table, would there be interest in economic development opportunities? So we're certainly excited about that. project that is most important to me, and I think the administration and certainly the board, is moving forward with a new water treatment plant. The city of Riviera Beach acquired a parcel some time ago on the corner of Avenue L and Blue Heron, and now has, of course, where the old public works site. So we're looking at creating a municipal service complex that will house both the utility operations as well as public works. We believe that there's some opportunities for some efficiencies and some savings with co-locating those operations on that particular site. Me and staff have met and had conversations with a plan that we would like to bring forward to the board in about a 30-day approach that will look to significantly expedite our ability to move forward with a water treatment plant sooner rather than later. Conventional construction says it will take anywhere between 4 to 5 years. We think that if we're able to move forward and work with our board, that we may see something as early as 2 years. And so we're going to move very aggressively to try to help facilitate that. We also know that if we're able to deliver a quality plant and a quality product, there's other communities that are looking at entering into arrangements with the city of Riviera Beach to be able to be their service provider. So as it relates to municipal facilities, most of your municipal facilities have been built in the 1970s. All of them are at the end of their useful life. And so we're taking aggressive steps to go ahead and try to address that as best as possible. Also, one of the things we were able to do is reduce our lease payments over the last year. We used to lease some space from the port center. We've moved human resources and procurement out of that facility, and the anticipated cost associated with that is about $150,000. We've relocated them to the Public Works Complex and looking to relocate other personnel to get away from lease payments as much as possible. So looking to gain some efficiencies as best as possible. We have also modernized the police fleet. We've moved forward with moving from the Tahoes to your Ford Explorers as well as your Dodge Chargers. And the fleet conceivably all should be modernized probably within the next 6 to 8 months. In the past, we've had vehicles that are well over 10 to 12 years old. So you'll see the new branding, the new striping pattern that Chief Osgood has been able to move forward. So as it relates to city activities and operations, we've got a lot of great things on the horizon, a lot of things the community can be excited about, and we're going to move very aggressively, but we're also going to make sure that there is transparency in the process, but more important, inclusivity, that the community participates in the opportunities that we have here in the city of Riviera Beach. Madam Chair, if you would indulge me, I would like the opportunity to talk briefly on the charter amendments. All the voters have received information and literature concerning the charter amendments. And you have 2 charter amendments, and the charter is the constitution for the city of Riviera Beach. The only way the charter can be modified is by a vote of the voters. The voters have decided what's in the charter and what gets taken out of the charter. So there's 2 ballot initiatives that are on your ballot that you should seriously research and consider. The city is prohibited by law to tell you to vote yes or vote no on a particular matter. We can only produce and provide you with the facts. So the first item that you're going to consider is there is an item in the existing charter today that requires the city to assess property owners that derive a benefit from infrastructure that they benefit from, a roadway, stormwater, etc. The city has not utilized this mechanism since the 1980s. However, I'm not one, and I believe my board is not one, to violate the charter. So one of the things that's being proposed is to amend the charter to remove that section that requires you as a property owner to contribute 50% of the cost associated with the infrastructure improvements that are being contemplated or being done in front of your home or in your neighborhood. By this provision staying in there, it would be a mechanism that the city council would have to adhere to. The charter is the Constitution. Why it wasn't removed or why it wasn't acted upon is irrelevant. The fact is that we believe that the ad valorem, or the property taxes that you pay already, is enough for the city to be able to address the roadway and stormwater infrastructure. This doesn't have anything to do with your utility rates. This doesn't have anything to do with any other rates. This is explicit and inclusive of infrastructure that there is a perceived or documented benefit that you, the property owner, would receive. So if they come and they pave a roadway in front of my house, and me and my neighbors have access to that roadway, we are subject to having to pay 50% of the cost associated with it. If that is removed, the city would budget for roadway project as consistently and as normally as it's done since the 1980s plus. So that particular provision is not being utilized, and also it does provide a situation where it requires the board to do something that is not being done, and from our research, it is not consistent with what other municipalities do. So the next provision is a provision on charter departments. For instance, the city manager, the mayor, the city council are charter officers. That means our position, our duties and responsibilities are memorialized in our charter. So, in order to remove or modify or tweak, there is ways as it's prescribed in the charter, and in the event there's any tweaks or modifications to the charter, like I said earlier, it requires the voters to make a decision to remove or to put something in. We're merely asking the voters, because of the consistent false narrative that is out there, that for some reason that the city of Riviera Beach or the city manager would ever conceivably think about contracting out those services. First and foremost, in a council or mayor, council, manager form of government, the manager is responsible for the day-to-day operations of the city. The elected body makes the policy decisions. So the policymakers are the ones that have the ability today to contract, to abolish, to modify, to tweak, to merge any department. They have that authority today by a vote of the elected officials 3-2 to be able to do that. They have that authority today. What we're asking for is for your police and your fire department, two core municipal functions, to be considered charter departments. If they are considered charter departments, the only way those departments could ever be removed, modified, tweaked, would require the voters, you, the voters, to make that decision. You don't leave that responsibility to the elected officials any longer. You, the individuals that vote on what goes in and goes out of the charter, would have these departments protected, in essence, in perpetuity, to ensure that you will always have your life safety elements in your community. Now, the board would be responsible for the budget allocations and the staffing models, but it will always make sure that the city of Riviera Beach has a police and fire department. Ideally, in the best world, we would love to see the utility district incorporated in that, because that's such a critical utility and such a critical element to municipal services. So when you hear things out there in the community, I just urge you to read the language and the information that was provided by staff. There is no ulterior motives. There are multiple memorandums that we can provide you that get into very explicit detail with regards to what the charter says on these two items, the opinion and perspectives that have been communicated on staff, and why these items In one case, the one on the assessment was voted on by the board 4-1 to make it to the ballot, and the one on making your police and fire department were voted 5-0. This is not the first time we've had this conversation. We've had multiple conversations and multiple meetings to discuss this, which have all been public meetings and opportunities for the community to be educated on this. So I do want to encourage the community to pay attention. We do have a community meeting Monday, that we will go, it's a digital meeting that will go over the charter amendments. And then we have a face-to-face meeting, and I believe that is March 1st, if I'm not mistaken. But please continue to follow our social media, our city website for more information. If you have a group of voters or you have people that are interested in finding out what these charter amendments mean, please call my office. We'll come to your church. We'll come to your front yard. We'll come to your birthday party. We'll come to your bar mitzvah. We'll come to your barbecue, your cookout, wherever you'll come any and everywhere to make sure that you are informed. There should not be a reason why you cannot get the information necessary to make an informed decision. And all we ask you to do is vote your conscience and participate in the process. Madam Chair, I'm here to answer any questions.
Thank you so much, Mr. Evans. I know we're not allowed to urge people to vote one way or the other, but I can tell people how I voted, can't I? I voted yes, proudly, on both those amendments to the charter, because I think it's really important that we keep our police and fire departments in-house, and I certainly don't want to pay double for any road work that happens on North Ocean Drive, so that's why I voted yes. And thank you so much for your recap of the exciting things that are going on in the city. You know, we had a board retreat about a year ago to talk about Riviera Beach 2030. And we came up with this Reimagine Riviera Beach, and it's so exciting to be a part of actually implementing the things that we decided to do. So thank you so much for that recap. I really appreciate it.
Pleasure.
And next we'll go to our public safety update, and we have Chief Osgood and we have Fire Chief Kurd here to give us some information about what's going on with the police department and what's going on with our COVID initiatives. And I think we'll start with Chief Osgood since he's approaching the podium. Thank you, Chief, for being here.
Good evening, Madam Chair. I'm Police Chief Nate Osgood. I didn't know if you can recognize me outside of uniform. Sometimes people don't recognize Batman when he's as Bruce Wayne. But I'll be brief. To give you an update on what we're doing in the police, let me go a little bit back to last year. We see a problem with violent crimes increase in our city, but we also see that is a trend that's not just have gone on across the county, across the nation. So we actually increased our tactical unit. We've made some adjustments and tweaks to the tactical unit, the ACE unit. They are now the Assertive Crime Prevention Team. And last year they seized roughly around 200 firearms, a little bit more than 200 firearms from the streets, and they have already been off to a good start now. They're working hand in hand with our criminal investigative units, the homicide unit, the ag felony guys, the guys who are doing the property crimes. So they're working hand in hand with them. We also realize that there's a problem with our youth in crime, Madam Chair. So with that, we, as you're aware of, and I know you're a big proponent, a supporter of the PAL program. So we have already, each and every day around the clock, we're working on initiatives to get the PAL program off the ground. You should see something coming up pretty soon, getting involved in activities. Each and every day we're out in the school system throughout our public schools, and not just here in Riviera Beach. A lot of our kids attend school in the surrounding areas. And so if they're attending schools out there, we want them to be aware that you are available, and we would like to see you participate in our PAL program. With the PAL program, it's not just going to be working with the youth. Our police officers will be working hand in hand directly with their parents, other role models, people who are working involved in the community. You'll see a lot of support. We have a board put together, and we can even expand that board. The board would take initiatives in raising money and coming up with other programs and or activities for our youth to be involved in. and which will include, not necessarily limited to, field trips. One of the things we talk about with our youth, we like to get them outside of the city of Riviera Beach, put them in, take them on field trips to perhaps Washington, D.C. Let them see the museums up there, the national malls. Also, you will see that we're doing, I want to segue into what the city manager spoke about. We spoke about reinventing the look of the agency. If you see now, you see a lot of our police officers' uniform change. You see the patches change. We have added the American flag to our uniform patch. The same thing with our police cars. We have moved the police cars into a different direction. We've gotten away from the big gas guzzler Chevy Tahoes. We have made them a little smaller, the Ford Explorers and the little Chargers. That's one, it should save on the cost of fuel, and it's a lot easier to maneuverate in and out of the city when we have so many, which you've seen before. It should alleviate car crashes. And I think the officers will like it a little better. I think the community will see them more engaging, looking like the police departments that we're used to. We are also have increased, or should I say we have reinvented on what we're doing with community policing. Our officers are challenged each and every day to go out and meet 10 new people in their community, say hello to them, get to know them. So we're asking our officers, if you met 10 people yesterday, go and meet 10 new ones today. We're going to continue to do this by uniform patrol and bicycle patrol. You'll see our COP unit out getting involved. Now, what we have seen throughout the course, starting since COVID, you see a lot of drive-by birthday celebrations, graduation parties, whatever you see. The drive-by initiatives haven't stopped. We're here to assist, and that's part of our community policing engagement. And so with that, anytime we get an email or a request, we have not turned anybody down. We make it work. We say, okay, we'll find a way to make it work. And so that's our way that we can get out and engage in the community. That's our at-home feel for community policing. The other thing that we're doing, I think the city manager spoke on this, we are building a substation. We're taking the YEP and we turn that into a substation. We got a build out in it. Now, that's going to move a lot of our police officers from east to west to get them closer to the community so that they can, one, be seen around the clock. They're going to be right there, right in the community. The substation be right there for anybody who can be in walking distance. They don't have to drive across the tracks. They can walk over to the substation and say hello or make a report to a police officer. And if a police officer makes an arrest in that area, he can book that person right there and take them down to the county facilities. One other thing, Chairperson, we also have increased our initiative in working with our task force. Task force meaning with the sheriff's office, other state municipality, and the federal government. So we have already done so, you will see a lot more law enforcement agencies outside of the city of Riviera Beach working with us. They're going to be here, but they're going to be working with us in our communities. And I can take any questions, ma'am.
Thanks very much. I don't think we have any questions, so thank you so much, Chief, for being here. We really appreciate your presence. And now we'll ask Chief Kerr to come
Thank you.
and give us an update on COVID. Thanks. We know that I can tell before he even gets here, because I know the number, we've done over 1,300 vaccinations in the city of Riviera Beach. Am I right, Chief?
No, we're higher than that.
Oh.
That's a good try, though.
Nice try.
Chair, Mr. Brown, how you doing? Just wanted to go over some of the information that, and it changes so quickly that I was actually on a call today at 6 o'clock trying to gather additional information, working with FEMA and the Florida Department of Emergency Management on finalizing a location for a permanent pod site that's going to service West Palm and Riviera Beach. We're looking to bring something more easterly, because right now a lot of the test sites are out at the fairgrounds or way down south at FAU or what have you. So we're working in a partnership with West Palm Beach. We've identified a couple of properties. We were on the call today. Wells Recreation Center is the gem in Palm Beach County of how to run a pod, and I really have to thank Ms. Grimsley and Mr. Blankenship. I mean, the fire department, we help people every day, so for us, it's normal. But vaccinating, testing, food distributions are out of their element, and they've done a phenomenal job. So I really want to commend the staff, Mr. Bailey and his planning. There's just you all providing the funds needed, Mr. Evans's vision on the way he would like it done has really helped us set the model. However, we don't think Wells Recreation Center is going to be able to provide the capacity that the state is looking to do. We tried to identify other locations. The old Winn-Dixie was a consideration. We've also partnered with a tentative partnership with the Port of Palm Beach to utilize the port to be able to do 1,000 people a day there. They've also looked at the old Hialeah off of 45th Street and John Prince Park. So we're looking at all these options, and we're talking about the pros and cons of each one of these options, but I would anticipate that when we see phase 2 or the next round of vaccines, we're going to see a site open up that's really going to service this general area. So that was a very good conversation to be a part of today, and happy to hear that they're moving in that direction. I could talk about COVID for 2 hours, so I'm just really going to get into the meat and potatoes. We hear the numbers. I give this on my reports, but I really want to focus a little bit on the virus itself, some of the things that are new, the vaccine, and more importantly being it's your town hall meeting focusing on what's happening on Singer Island, and I use some of the census tract data. And I'm really happy to announce the 2 census tracts that encompass Singer Island, 5.09, which is essentially all your high-rises, and 5.11, which are all your residential properties down into the town of Palm Beach. At 5.09, there were 0 cases of COVID-19 last week reported. And in 5.11, they give you a range. It was 8 to 13 individuals tested positive. So those are low numbers considering what we're seeing throughout the county. So whatever is happening out there, you can continue to tell your constituents to keep doing what it is they're doing, especially the condo association, right, and all the efforts that they're putting in. Talking a little bit about the virus real quick, the UK variant has been found in the state of Florida. This is a very contagious variant of the virus, so we need to be mindful of that. The CDC and the Washington State University are predicting a 4th wave in April. This wave is predicted coming out of winter, going into spring. Individuals are going to start getting out again and socializing and doing those type of things. So this is a long way from over. The CDC is also now recommending double masks. And the intent of the double mask is for individuals that utilize masks that only have a single layer of material. Those are those fishing buffs that you see people wear. If you really stretch those out, you could almost see right through them. But these masks here, if you rub them together, you can feel that there's 2 pieces of material. And many of these actually come with filters that are embedded inside of it, but they're really just looking for that extra layer of protection instead of those real thin cloth masks. The vaccine itself, just want to let everyone know that in order to receive the vaccine right now, your best options are to send an email to myvaccine.fl.gov, myvaccine.fl.gov. Phone number, if you don't have internet access or email, is 866-201-6754, and you always have publix.com. These websites or this email address and this phone number will get you to the Florida Department of Health. That's how you get to some of the state-run sites and the county-run sites here in Palm Beach County. You have the super site, they're calling it, or the mega site over at the fairgrounds. They're actually looking and have ramped up to do 1,500 people a day there. So there's quite a bit of opportunity. Unfortunately, Publix hasn't opened up its registration in the last couple of days because of the weather we're seeing in the north and the delay in getting the vaccine here to South Florida. But on the call today, vaccine is on its way, and they're going to be reopening up those lines here momentarily. And of course, we always preach code RED, and you can text RB alerts to 99411. You can subscribe online at rivierbeach.org /code red, or you can do it by phone at 866-939-0911. I'm talking a little bit about the vaccine. There's some misconceptions about what the vaccine is and what it does. Please understand the vaccine is not a force field. It doesn't stop you from getting COVID. What it does is it teaches your body how to fight COVID. So just because you receive the vaccine doesn't mean you can't become infected again, and it also doesn't mean that you can't spread the virus. So this is the intent of individuals continuing to adhere to the CDC guidelines even after they've been vaccinated. So we really need to understand what the vaccine does. And a lot of people said, well, I heard there's a 95% efficacy. Well, that means that there's a 95% chance you won't die because you got COVID. So please understand the vaccine is simply a mechanism to train your body on how to react to the virus if you do get the virus, but you still are susceptible to getting the virus and spreading the virus. Next week, the Department of Health is going to start releasing information on the number of persons vaccinated by zip code. I'm very excited to see that information, to actually see what we're doing here in Riviera Beach. But the one bright side is 52% of all persons over the age of 65 in Palm Beach County have been vaccinated. And that leads the way for all of the larger counties in the state of Florida. And I'm happy to see that 52% because the national average of people who want the vaccine is only 20 to 40%. So we're doing extremely well. And actually what we're seeing is a second wave of individuals over the age of 65 who didn't want the vaccine to begin with. But now that they see their friends got it and they didn't grow a third arm or a second head, they now want the vaccine. So now we have to double back to those individuals to try to accommodate their needs. And one other statistic is 19% of all Palm Beach County residents have been vaccinated. That's your frontline health care, that's your firefighters, that's your over 65. I don't know, it is unknown what the next phase will look like, what the next group will look like, if it's comorbidities, if it's 55 and older. There's teachers looking for it. Our police officers can't even get the vaccine right now because they're not considered frontline health care. You have teachers looking to get the vaccine. You got bus drivers looking to get the vaccine. So we're really limited in what we can do without the governor's executive orders. So I don't know when it's going to happen. Currently, we don't have any more first-round vaccines scheduled here in Riviera Beach, but as soon as we can get more vaccine, which is becoming difficult to do, Publix is a player, Walmart's a player, CVS and Walgreens are coming online, so it will become difficult, but we're going to continue to fight. If we can't get the vaccine, we're going to work to have a pod established in our community where the state could come in and bring the vaccine. And again, I got 4 or 5 more pages of notes. You stop me when you're ready.
You've said so.
Okay.
You know, it's so important that we inform people. I think part of the problem in the beginning was people just didn't know when it was coming, what they could, and you've been so good about providing that information. So we greatly appreciate everything you've done. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great. And now we'll go to our librarian, and he's going to tell us some exciting news about Singer Island and a branch library, I believe. Welcome.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Chair,
Mr. Rodney
for
Freeman.
having me. Rodney Freeman, Library Director. I'm not going to take too much of your time, just have a couple of updates for you. I just want to let you guys know that the library is open. While the building is closed, the library is open. And we have 3 locations, Brooks Center, Lindsay Davis Center, and our new location, the Ambassador Center that we opened up last week. So you are able to use our library services there. We're working on providing public PCs so people can come in and use a computer. You're also able to get a electronic card, e-card, or a library regular card. Also would like to let you know that we are doing a great big book giveaway. One of the projects that we're working on with the library is weeding the books that have been on the shelf for like 30, 40 years, and literally we're taking those off the shelf and we're discharging them, and we're giving them back to the community. So at any of those 3 locations, you're able to pick up books. Also, I just want to let you know that we're providing tax services. It's tax season right now, so if people need help, they can come to Lindsay Davis. And also is by appointment, the Vita tax program. Back to the building that Mr. Evans was talking about, we're really excited. I actually took my staff over there today just to show them what they're working towards, and you could just see the progress that's being done in the building. And I'm just really excited that this building is going to come online beginning in the summer, and we'll be ready to serve people for a summer reading program. Any questions that you might have?
I don't see anybody raising their hand, so we know that we'll probably get questions by email after we show this on television. I'll encourage people to write to me. You know, my email address is jbotel@rivierabeach.org, so if you have any questions about any of the speakers this evening, please don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you so much, Mr. Friedman.
You're welcome.
We're excited about having a little library on Singer Island.
Oh, yeah, we are
Thanks.
too. Thank you.
And next, we're going to hear from our Claudine Anthony. I think she's here. Ms. Anthony? No, I don't see her, so we'll skip to Development Services. We'll ask Mr. Clarence Sermons to join us. And Mr. Sermons, you know, I hope that you're seeing all of the new faces we have in Riviera Beach. We've got so many wonderful new employees here, and it's just refreshing to see so many young people, especially, working for the city now. And so Mr. Sermons is our new Director of Development Services. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman Botel, and it is indeed a pleasure to serve the city as the Director of the Development Services Department. It's been 8 very long months, but they have been extremely exciting. This is a great place to work. The Development Services Department, our charge is to plan, build, and maintain the city of Riviera Beach. When we say plan, we mean the future of our city and its resources by way of the city's comprehensive plan. We are in charge of overseeing the administration of it and its associated codes as projects come through the city. We are also in charge of building the city by way of the Florida Building Code. Anything that's constructed here, we want to make sure it is safe and resilient for those inhabiting it and those living around them. And then finally, maintaining the city. Anything that's constructed here, we want to make sure that it's maintained in a way that does not lower property values or make anyone feel safe or create any type of blight in the city. To fulfill this charge, there are 4 divisions of the Development Services Department. The Planning Division that I am proud of. We have been in a bit of a rebuilding phase since I got here. We've brought on some great staff. We've done some restructuring with the support of city administration. We've now created a designated principal planner for long-range planning, whereas before it was something that often got sent to the back burner because there's so many projects always going through the city that need immediate attention that our long-range things like updating our codes and updating our comprehensive plans kind of waned a little bit, but now we have a designated person to oversee that. So you'll see some things before you to vote on very soon related to that. We've also been working on updating that comprehensive plan through that division and also contacting third-party consultants to assist us with some technical work and data gathering. So exciting things going on in the planning division. The second division of the department is operations, led by Ms. Grace Joyce, who's just brought a plethora of knowledge to the department and a great resource, very responsive. She's in charge of one of the most important tasks to the development process in the city. She's bringing us online for electronic permitting through the InterGov software. Within the next 3 months, we expect to roll out phase 1, which is it's been a huge task so far, but it's going to revolutionize the way we do the permit process here in the city of Riviera Beach. So we are working closely with the IT department and several other departments across the city to realize that we're going to roll it out in several phases, so it will be a while before we require everyone to submit electronically, but again, one step at a time, we want to make sure that it's a smooth transition from paper to going electronic. Then we have the Buildings Division, arguably the division that needed the most attention when I came here 8 months ago. It had almost no staff in-house, and it was almost 100% third-party services that we administered the Florida Building Code here. But we've since hired a great building official who has over 20 years of experience, previously retired from the city of Green Acres and came here to bring his experience with us. And there's going to be several items related to just cleaning house and our administration of the Florida Building Code that will come before the council soon. And we had the first of several last night, which passed, and we're excited about getting those Chapter 1 amendments in place so that we are by the books in terms of how we administer the permit process. And we are also just proud of our code enforcement division. We've also been doing some revamping and restructuring there. We've added some new positions, and we've changed the way we go about things. One of the most frequent comments we hear is how can we make the city look more beautiful? How can we better maintain properties? And that often ends up with eyes looking at our code enforcement division. So we're focusing on them and focusing on being as effective as possible with managing people in their private property in a way that doesn't cause our property values and the aesthetics of our city to go down. So we're doing a lot there, and one of the things that will be before council soon is a property maintenance code that will have certain itemized responsibilities of property owners in the city, and if they don't follow those maintenance codes, our code enforcement will have a manual that they can use and provide to the public for information purposes for just the administration of code compliance in the city. So there's a lot going on in this department. We've been able to accomplish a lot in the last 8 months, but there's so much left to be done, so much so that we've created a department newsletter. So every quarter, we are issuing a newsletter just letting you know what's been going on, the volumes, how many permits have we issued, how much revenue have we taken in, how many miles have the code enforcement officers driven in the last 3 months. All of that, as well as the fun things, we're creating a great culture in the department. We really get along as a family and as a team. So you'll see some of the activities that we do, whether it be Thanksgiving turkey giveaways or holiday socials. All of that are in our newsletter. And if you haven't received a copy yet, I will get you a paper copy, or I can get you an email copy through Mr. Evans as well. But there's a lot going on in development services, and again, I'm excited to be here and to serve the city. And unless there are any questions.
Now, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So in about 3 months' time, when I'm walking around in Publix and someone comes to me and says, Dr. Botel, I have a pump that I want to put in my swimming pool, and I put a permit in, what can you tell me about when I can look on my iPhone here and look up their permit and tell them what the status is? Is that right?
Now, the key word in everything you said was about.
About 3 months.
Yes, in
But
about
that's
3
the
months,
dream. So we're going to get rid of the paper, yes? Thank you.
Correct. The first phase will only be electronic tracking. So yes, on their phone, they'll be able to look at the permit they turned in to see where it is. But we won't fully phase out the actual paper submittals for a while, but that's correct.
That's great. Thank you so much. Sounds really exciting.
Thank you.
Really exciting. Thanks so much for being here. And next, we're going to go to Parks and Recreation. Mr. Blankenship, who has been doing an outstanding job with the COVID vaccinations. He and his team have been just doing great work over there at Wells, making everyone feel comfortable. Everyone who comes through that process comes out with a smile and comes out with compliments for the team, and how great it is to see Riviera Beach stepping up to this task. And so we're very, very thankful that Mr. Blankenship and his team have been there to provide that service for us. So Mr. Blankenship is going to give us a little bit information about the beach paths.
Good evening, Dr. Botel and
Thank you.
staff. I want to thank you and Chief Curd for the kind words, but I can speak for Ms. Grimsley and myself. It starts with the leadership and trickles down. So we couldn't ask for better direction from Mr. Evans and Chief Curd in making this thing happen.
Thank you.
Who knew we would be doing this as a part of our career? So my role tonight is to talk to you about the 6 slivers of land in the city that cause more angst and questions and concern than anything else that we have in the city. Those are the 6 beach access areas on Singer Island. And hopefully we can get it up there.
Keep going. It's coming up.
Okay. The first one we're going to talk about, and I'll back up a little bit. There was, maybe July, quite a bit of concern about the condition of these beach access areas. And then we had the high tides and the heavy winds of August, September, October, which really did a lot of damage to those beach access areas. So we repaired in August, we repaired in October, and then November came, and the near hurricane we had in late November really did a number on these beach access areas. So we had to take a different approach. The first one we're talking about is the access between Tierra and Ammet Resort, which really wasn't damaged that much. It's a sea level or a level access. So if it loses a little bit of sand, that's no big deal. All we had to do is do some fence repair. Amrit has been working with us very closely because it's their fence, it's not ours, to make sure that the fencing is safe. That was our main concern, is as individuals walk down the path back and forth, that they're not going to get stuck with a piece of fence or something. The next piece is on the other side of the Amrit, between Amrit and Marriott. Similar situation with fencing, but they've been good about inspecting it on a daily basis and making those upgrades. That also is a at-grade access. There's no need for, well, there we go. All right, so that's Tierra. That's the first one we talked about. And these pictures were taken in December, maybe?
Now, I don't see that on the screen I'm watching here. Will the at-home viewers be able to see this at the same time? Yes, okay, thank you, go ahead.
Yes, you have the.
I see it now,
projector.
thank you.
Yes.
So then we go to the next slide. That's Amrit and Marriott. So again, the Amrit, that's their fence, and they're charged with maintaining that. And then we go to the next slide, which is between Ocean Tree and Villas on the ocean. Again, it's a level grade access, so there's really no, can lose a little bit of sand and you still have access. That was the main thing, is maintaining safe access. Next slide is actually a private beach, or private access. But in our evaluation, we took a look at it just for simplicity's sake and make sure that it was all right. Next slide is the booger of them all, Coral Sea Lot and Martinique. Several issues here. This to the south of this access is where they just recently demolished a condominium. As a part of that demolition, they damaged fencing and areas up and down the path that staff tried to make as safe as possible without impeding on somebody else's property. But then when you got to the end of the boardwalk, as you can see in the pictures at the bottom, the tides took the staircase away. This staircase was basically replaced in August. This picture was in December.
Wow.
So what we did, because as you approach that staircase, you realize that there's really no elevation. There's no reason to have a staircase.
Okay.
So what we've done to give it safe access is to take the staircase out. You still have a little bit of a boardwalk. Then you get to the end of that boardwalk, you're on sand, and you decline onto the beach. Now, erosion's going to affect that, but erosion would affect it whether there's a staircase there or not. So in our opinion, it was the best way to provide the public access was to take the stairs out, back the boardwalk up a little bit, and make it a natural approach. There's just some more pictures of the condition of that we've been working on gradually for several months of that same boardwalk. Now this is the northernmost between Sea Winds and Villa Delfino. These pictures don't really tell the story. If the far right picture on the top, it looks like it goes right down to the beach. But once you get to that bottom step, there's another 10 feet of nothing until you get to the beach. So we either have to mechanically or naturally let the sand come back in before we can make any adjustments. The redesign that we're going to propose is that bottom right slide, which is the access to the south, I believe, of the one we're talking about, where they do switchbacks to get to elevation, so that if you have wind, because we are going to have more erosion, when we have more erosion, there's more opportunity for the staircases to continue to provide safe access to the beach versus, all the sand gone and you have no choice but to wait. We don't know, we'll have to do redesign, but we don't know whether we have enough space there to do that. But that's the first thing we're going to look at is, can we redesign that so that this doesn't happen as drastically in the future? So of the 6 accesses, 5 of them are open with safe access to the beach. We are going to, as everybody knows, we're going to continue to have erosion. We've seen it as bad in some places that on the north end especially, that we've ever seen it. But we'll just have to deal with it. But 5 of the 6 are safe, and then when the time is right, we will work on that northernmost one and try to make it safe again.
Thank you so much. I know this is of great interest to those of us who live on the island and the people who have to cross the street to get to the beach. It's really of great concern to them. So we really appreciate the care that you've taken with this. Thank you so much. And now we're going to hear from Ms. Grimsley, and she's going to tell us a little bit about the Youth Empowerment Program. And I'm sure she is as excited as Mr. Freeman is about moving into a new space, giving her a lot more room to do the good work that she's doing with our young people. She's been in that position for quite some time now, and she does great, great work with our young people here in the city. Ms. Grimsley, Ms. Valerie Grimsley. She's just getting herself set up here. And while she's approaching, I'll tell you that she has a GED program. So if anybody is interested in the GED program that the Youth Empowerment Project offers, I am willing to not only pay for your tuition, which is fairly minimal, but give you a prize at the end if you graduate. If you get your GED, you will come to me and I will give you a special prize. So I'm hoping that everybody who needs a GED will sign up to Ms. Valerie Grimsley's program. Ms. Grimsley, welcome and thank you for coming.
I apologize.
It's okay.
Good evening, Chair, citizens, City Manager, Assistant City Manager Deirdre Jacobs. My name is Valerie Grimsley. I'm the Director of the Youth Empowerment Center, and I needed a little technical assistance. So, as you've spoken, YEP has been around for about 16, going into our 17th year. It was a part of a project out of Palm Beach County that was established to curb some of the violence for the youth that were at the time ages 10 to, at the time we went up to 18. Since then, we found ourselves having to completely reestablish ourselves because different things have happened in our communities and all over our county and the world, so we need to be able to address those items. So with that said, YEP has planned a rebranding with our new move. Our rebranding, which we are going to come to council for an official rebranding, but our rebranding is going to become the Emerging Community Center. With that, we are answering the call of our citizens as well as our community. We're no longer going to be just looking at the students that are 11 to the 19. As you said, we have a GED program. We need to be inclusive instead of excluding some of the community members that come in for services. So with that, we're going to start seeing kids that are 10, and then we're going to go up until 22.
Great.
And beyond. So our parents don't have to come into a youth empowerment center to receive educational services. They can feel a part of the program instead of feeling like they are alienated from the program.
Wonderful.
So we're answering that call. We're also trying to answer the call to become more of a holistic approach to our community. So we're looking at different avenues so that we can become that nucleus. We believe that education is for improving the lives of others, for leaving your community and the world a better place. So with that said, I'll go into just a short breakdown of what the ECC is going to look like. Youth empowerment is still going to be used so that we can continue our county partnerships. We appreciate their partnerships. So youth empowerment is going to be used for our emerging teens, which are our 5th to 8th graders, which is that 10 to 13-year-old student. But we know that once we become teenagers, we want to be called something different. We don't want to be called youth anymore. So with that, we're going to be called, for our 9th grade to the 12th grade, 14 to 18-year-old, they will be called our emerging young adults. Then we will switch gears a little bit, so as our kids graduate high school and get ready to go off to college or into the work world, they're going to be called the Ambassadors of Change. They are our 18 to 22-year-olds. And then from there, we know once they graduate from college, we're hoping that with all the services we put in place on the front end, they're going to come back to our community, and they're going to be called the Emerging Citizens of Riviera Beach. So not to go into too much, because Mr. Evans had told you some of the things that we're doing. Our cafe is going to be called Next Generation Cafe. In that cafe, we're going to teach work readiness, job skills, entrepreneurship, financial literacy, as well as be able to hopefully engage our youth, their parents, and some of our citizens in workplace. So we'll be able to economically empower our community as well. With that, I'll take any questions.
Wonderful. Right up my alley, workforce development. I love it. That's great. It's so good to see that you're going to be serving a wider range of a population. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your being here this evening to share that. Thanks. And now we're going to move to the last item on our agenda, which is the City of Riviera Beach Utility District. And I watched some of this presentation last night at our council meeting, and I know the enthusiasm this young man has for his department, his water department. We're proud to have him here, and another young face in the agency, and this is Mr. Jonathan Batista, the head of our utility district. Mr. Batista.
Thank you, Chair Botel. So the first thing I'm going to do is I just found out this morning how to access the Utility Special District agenda and watch the City Council presentation. And the goal tonight is to essentially provide an abridged version of that original presentation, because some people just want the quick and dirty version, the fast and the furious, and then if they want more details, they can go to this longer presentation that can go into more depth. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to show, here's how we get to the presentation. I think some people could use a refresher. The city website has changed. So the first thing you do is when you're on the RivieraBeach.com website, you go to Agenda and Minutes. So once you click on there, when it comes to the Utility Special District, it has its own meeting type. And so you look by the date, you look by Utility Special District, and then you scroll over to the right and you find the online agenda. Now, once you're on the online agenda, a new window opens, you scroll down, and there's a little button, a little hard to find, called Video. So it's almost like a scavenger hunt. So once you find this, it'll redirect you to a new page where you can see the whole presentation that was given for the Utility Special District. So if you missed out, here's how you find it, and for this particular one, you go under Awards and Presentations, and then you'll be able to see the whole Utility Special District meeting. So for all the details,
Water
this is how
quality
you do it.
improvement update.
Now we're going to go to the presentation. And as that's getting set up, there are two announcements I'd like to make. We're going to focus on water quality in the water treatment plant. And for the water treatment plant, I'm glad to announce that it's been a long time coming, but we're just about to finish a water treatment plant video, which is set up as a tour. So anybody who hasn't seen the inside of the plant will get a first-hand look at what our operators deal with on a day-to-day basis and have some of the science explained in a way that's easy to understand. So previous residents, previous council members have asked for this, and so we're very close to delivering that. The second part, when it comes to water quality, is on Monday, we're going to have our compliance officer start. And so this compliance officer is going to be collecting data that will make it very easy for us to explain to our customers, here's your water, here's how we're meeting the regulatory requirements in a way that's easy to interpret. So right now, all this information is buried in reports. You'd have to go through all the lab testing, so it's difficult to see the data. So with this new person, he'll be able to show it very easily. With the presentation, I'm just going to go fast and furious through it so that people get a good idea of what the utility is going through. All right. So first off, with the USD, we have stats here. One of the main stats is for our staff, we have 57 positions but 11 vacancies. So when it comes to job opportunities, the USD is full of them. So if you have mechanical skill set, if you have engineering background, if you're interested, the job opportunities are becoming available, so this is the place to look. When it comes to our organization, we've experienced significant turnover, but now we're building a strong leadership team to change that. We've had a lot of directors over the years. They've come and they've gone. And because of this rapid turnover, it's led to erratic spending for the utility special district, where in this figure you can see the blue line over the course of years going up and down. And now, on the final part, 2021, we have to increase spending to be able to catch up to the erratic lack of spending in the past. So we're about to go through some major changes, because in the 1970s, that was the last time we had a major change of our water treatment plant. And today, there hasn't been much done between 1970s and now. And we're about to embark on the largest capital improvement program. Over $10 million is being spent on the plant as we speak. Now, for the sake of understanding what the water treatment plant is, you could think of it as the heart of the whole system. In order to pump water to customers, first you have to treat it, make it drinkable, and then you could deliver it to customers. And there's a lot of things that go into it, the wells, and after customers use the water becomes wastewater and then is delivered away to a wastewater treatment plant. In this figure, you can see that the water treatment plant is just this little tiny part of the whole system. All the blue lines represent all the underground water mains that feed into the distribution system and serve our customers. It's almost like the heart is like the heart of a human body, and the water mains are the arteries. So the heart's pumping the water through all these arteries that ultimately make its way to the customers. In terms of the water treatment plant, about half the space is for the processes on the right-hand side, and on the left-hand side, most of it is for lime sludge. And because it's a lime softening plant, it's heavily chemically dependent, so we use a lot of lime every single day to treat the water. Now, for this next part, I'm going to have our consultant, Nigel Grace, go very quickly on the treatment processes and what we're doing in order to improve those processes through the work of our contractors, Cardinal and Global Tech.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Batista. Councilperson Botel, pleasure being here. Again, I'm going to do the express version of this presentation. As Mr. Batista indicated, the plant is a series of treatment steps, processing steps, each of which has its own unique challenges. The good news is that the city is taking significant action to remedy a lot of the problems that have accumulated over the years. City has made dramatic improvements to its water supply system, particularly the well field. Still work to be done. City is entering into an investigation to look into making some remedies. The first major treatment step is the air stripping. Relatively good condition, but an assessment is underway to look into identifying some potential improvements that are needed there. A major component of the treatment facility is where the softening occurs. And what is softening? That's basically removal of excess hardness from the water. City has 3 major softening units, the largest of which has been completely rehabilitated in the past 6 months or so. The remaining 2 units are scheduled to be rehabilitated sometime soon. The chemical feed process that makes the hardness removal possible within a treatment plant is a lime feed system. So you add lime to the water and it creates a reaction that removes excess calcium hardness. The city's existing lime systems are either non-functional or barely functional. Limited controls, limited ability to really manage and control what you do. So that's being replaced with an entirely new system that will be able to handle the entire treatment plant. The last major treatment barrier within the plant is the filtration process, and it does just what the name implies. It filters out particulates to prevent it from entering into the distribution system. We recently conducted an inspection of the filtration process, identified a number of issues that require corrective action. city is in the process of entertaining a proposal to look into implementing some remedies. Then the last major step in the whole treatment process train is the pumping. And Mr. Batista used the analogy of a heart. Well, the pumps are literally the heart of the plant. This is what conveys water to the customers, to the distribution system, or for other internal purposes within the plant. Significant reliability issues. Again, some of this is really dated infrastructure and needs to be replaced. Cities taking action there. Now, embedded within all of this are a series of chemical feed systems that make all of this work effectively. Those chemical feed systems are similarly aged and really beyond any functional, useful life, and they're all being scheduled for replacement as part of this $10 million investment that was mentioned. Particularly some of the chemical feed systems in the old, somewhat the compromised North Chemical building, those are going to be addressed as part of efforts to not only get rid of all the functional operating units from that building, but also stabilize that building to prevent any further structural degradation. So, in summary, the city has really undertaken a number of aggressive improvements. These will be implemented in a phased manner. The phase 1 effort is what's currently actively underway. Construction is going to ramp up within the next month or so and probably peak sometime towards the mid to late summer. There'll be a second wave of improvements, phase 2, that will address kind of, the back-end improvements that need to be done. And as we go along through the various improvements, there are a number of issues that bubble up that really require urgent emergency action, HISA response being an example. And where those needs become apparent, the city's been taking action to bring before the board items for expedited improvement. So with that, let me turn back over to Mr.
Thank you.
All right, so 2021 is expected to be the year of noticeable improvements, where as a function of all this work being done, we're going from a manual to automated system, and with all of that, we're going to improve the safety, reliability, and performance of our entire system. We're going to be able to add new treatment capabilities. Imagine it's like going from an old car that doesn't have many features, and now, you could charge your car, you could do all these things that you can never do before. And so that's what's happening with our water plant. And with all these new features, now we're going to be able to deliver better water quality, a better product, because now we have greater control over what we do with that product. Now, in terms of the anticipated water quality benefits, we're still constrained because it's lime-solving technology. This was developed over 70 years ago, and now we're trying to get the best out of what we have. So we expect to see less variability in color. We know that's been a big complaint. And I just want to note real quick, when it comes to color, it's not necessarily harmful. It's the same idea with tea. If you look at tea, whether it's brown tea, green tea, it has color to it, but it's not necessarily a harmful component. It's just a matter of the organics in the tea, or in this case, our water. When it comes to hardness, that's also an aesthetic nuisance. You don't want to have too hard water, because then you can't take a shower as well. It could affect when you wash your car, things of that nature. So we try to reduce the color and reduce the hardness, so in the end we have a better product. We're also working on making sure we have a good disinfectant residual, because that keeps our water safe. When it comes to the incidences of cloudy water, and this is something the fire department also brought to my attention, where we have sediment in our lines, and now we're in the process of cleaning it all out from the storage tanks, which was approved in a resolution by the board yesterday, as well as unidirectional flushing, which is right in the start. So, like what Nigel had mentioned before, we're just about to start construction in this month and next month, and because of the age and condition of the plant, there's probably going to be a Pandora's box opened up, because not a whole lot of work has been done in the past. Now, because the scope of this presentation is mainly focused on the water treatment plant, for your information, in the other presentation, we go into details about the other aspects of the utility, and there will be a follow-up presentation that goes into more details on what's happening utility-wide. just like what's going on with our force main crossings, the intracoastal, things of that nature. And finally, we're in the process of moving forward with our new water treatment plant so that as we keep our current heart alive, doing all the surgery we need to keep it running, the goal is to do a heart transplant and make our way to a new plant. Ultimately, I believe we have the stars aligned, where we have the board, we have the staff, we have the city manager, we have the customers. Everybody's on the same page to get things rolling and improved. And that makes it much easier to have the USD Renaissance, where we're having all of these things happen for the betterment of our community and the people that we serve. And at the end of the day, we have staff that are ready to grow, ready to fill these spots. And ultimately, I want to see one day that a staff member within Utility Special District rises to become the next director.
Thank
Any
you so
questions?
much. I'm so happy that you showed people in the beginning how to get at last night's complete presentation, because you did an excellent job, Nigel did an excellent job, and the person who talked, and I'm sorry, I apologize for not remembering her name, the woman who spoke about the grant that we can get, the money, how are we going to pay for this? That was also very important to see. So I'm hoping that people who watched the abbreviated version this evening will go back and take a look at the entire presentation from last night's meeting, because it was so informative. Great job. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you.
No problem.
Well, this brings our meeting to an end. I want to let you know that I'll be having my next regularly scheduled quarterly town hall meeting in May. We do these on the fourth Thursday of every quarter. So this being February, March, April, May. May will be the next one. I believe it's on the 20th. So I want to thank everyone who was here this evening to help me make these presentations. Ms. Jenkins, Mr. Evans, let me go through my list so I don't miss anybody. Chief Kurd, Chief Osgood, thank you so much. Mr. Blankenship, Mr. Freeman, Mr. Sermons, Valerie Grimsley, and certainly Jonathan Batista. Thank you to everybody who was here helping us inform our citizens about what's going on to reimagine Riviera Beach. Thanks very much. Have a good evening.
No problem.
Are we done?
We'll get it
We're off?
We'll get it on point next time. Give me a little notice.
Good job. Good job. Thank you. Please take food. Please take food. All right, I have to focus on this now.